Let's look at climate data. Climate Trace has released the emissions data for November 2025. And here's where we stand. Globally, we emitted 4.98 billion tons of CO2 emissions this month, which is a tiny fraction of a decrease of 0.04% from last November. But while the global total is holding relatively steady, the interesting bit is in the regional shifts. In the European Union, emissions dropped by a significant 2.31%. China and India also saw declines of 0.35% and 1.37% respectively. And these were largely driven by lower emissions in their power sectors. On the flip side, the United States saw a 0.91% increase, partly due to a colder start of winter, but also due to the energy-hungry growth of data centers. And another increase arose in Indonesia, where emissions rose by 0.47%. And when we zoom into our cities, data actually gets more interesting. The world's emissions giants remain the major hubs. You've got Shanghai, Tokyo, New York, Los Angeles, and Houston. These 5 cities alone represent a massive portion of our urban footprint. So nothing's really changed there. But let's look at the movers. We saw significant absolute increases in places like Ramagundam in India and Zibo in China. And these are often cities where heavy industry or coal power is still working overtime to meet growing demands. Now let's look at the transition leaders. This is the exciting part because cities like Rotterdam in the Netherlands and Düren in Germany saw some of the world's largest absolute declines. In Düren, for instance, we were seeing the result of the massive shift away from lignite, which is brown coal, towards cleaner alternatives. And in Rotterdam, this is about the transformation of one of the world's busiest ports into a hub for hydrogen and green energy. And these declines are really interesting and important because they are the evidence of old, loud and smoky industries being replaced by something much cleaner and much more future-proof. So numbers over numbers, but what does this actually mean for you and me? The fact that the global power sector and major economies like the EU, China and India are showing declines isn't just a statistic. It's a signal that we should take heart from. It means the transition to cleaner energy is actually under the hood and working. And for all of us, this points towards a future with cleaner air in our cities and more resilient energy grids. When the power sector dips, it's a sign that the electricity running your toaster, charging your phone and lighting your home is becoming cleaner. We are beginning to decouple our economic growth from pollution. And that is a massive win for our collective health and the longevity of the places that we love. And for the people in Rotterdam and Düren, it means waking up to a city that is literally breathing easier. It means cleaner canal sidewalks and a future where the local economy isn't tied to the price of coal anymore. And I keep bringing you these monthly updates because the data shows us exactly where we can lean in. Since transportation and waste were the 2 areas where emissions actually climbed that month, that's where we have the most power to change the narrative. Climate action doesn't have to be a chore, it can actually make your life a bit better. Here's how we can nudge those numbers down for the next report. We can reclaim our commute. Transportation emissions are up, so why not take this as an excuse to bike, walk, or try that new light rail if that's possible for you. It's less time stuck in traffic and more time for a podcast or video like this one. There's also the waste challenge. Our waste emissions are creeping up. This is a great time to start that compost bin or finally get serious about reducing single-use plastics. It's one of the most enjoyable forms of climate action because it simplifies our lives and it clears out the clutter. And we should not forget about energy mindfulness. Since the power sector is already on the downward trend, let's just help it along. Small habits like smart thermostats or LED upgrades add up when millions of us do them together. Any energy usage we can reduce isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's speeding along a world in transition. So the November data shows us that while the challenge is still really big, the momentum is real. We're not just cutting carbon, we are building a world that's more vibrant and enjoyable to live in. Every time you choose a sustainable path, you're part of that 0.01% dip. So let's see if we can make that number even bigger next month. What are some climate actions that you're thinking of taking this month? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for joining me today. See you again soon. Ni